Jasmine Crockett's deposition on Lex Wexner over the Epstein files completely, utterly implodes and backfires in her face. You've got to see this. I don't think too many people are talking about this. It was very, very subtle. Plus, the girls from The View, oh, I got so much to share from you, are in panic mode over what the Epstein files exposed. I'm going to also talk about their hypocrisy in great detail. And then we've got the most famous mobster alive. This video is breaking the internet, talking about the fact that he was incarcerated in the same exact prison that Epstein was when he supposedly, and he drops a complete bombshell. So you don't want to miss anything. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, your favorite snack. Your boy Nez is going to take care of everything. Okay, so first let's figure out who in the world is this Lex Wexner guy. So after Representative Massey viewed the unredacted files and pushed for transparency, the DOJ has now unredacted billionaire Lex Wexner's name. He appears as a co-conspirator, as you can see on your screen. But who is this guy? Well, Wexner is the founder of L Brands, which is a parent company of Victoria's Secret. So that should give you a hint on how, who this guy is. Basically, it's always the top 0.00 whatever percent power brokers, influential billionaires in the world who are involved in this absolutely diabolical, demonic cult called the Epstein Island All-Stars. He gave Epstein power of attorney over his finances and gifted him the largest private home in Manhattan. For years, Wexner avoided scrutiny while Maxwell took the fall alone. So he's now officially listed as a co-conspirator alongside Ghislaine Maxwell. The redactions were protecting him. Now we know why. Accusers have long claimed that Epstein used Victoria's Secret as a recruiting tool, with associates posing as modeling scouts to lure young women. One of the most viral clips on this deposition, I'm going to share with you what happened with Jasmine Crockett in just a second, is the fact that this guy's so rich, apparently he can pay his attorneys so much money that they feel entitled to say this to him.
It was just regularly done.
Answer not the question. 5 words, okay? Answer the question.
I've been a consultant. I've worked with a lot of attorneys and lawyers. I've run businesses my whole life. I don't think I've ever in my entire life seen anything like this, where an attorney talks to his client like that. Just in case you missed it, he essentially said, because Wexner, he's old. He's like 80 something. I don't even know how old he is. He was kind of giving long, laborious, long-winded answers to some of the questions. The deposition was over 5 hours long. And his attorney at one point just whispered in his ear and says, "I will effing unalive you." He didn't say unalive. He said the K word, but I have to say that so this video doesn't get taken down. He said, "I will effing unalive you if you answer another question over 5 words." And then he says, "Just answer the question." Boy, I bet that guy's a real treat to hang out with off camera. I've never heard of anything like that. Have you? Let me know in the comments down below. That's a bold attorney. His attorney must be a billionaire too. He doesn't care if he's going to get fired. I don't know. But Wexner seemed to just kind of shrug it off like it was nothing. Here's one of the clips that kind of forced his attorney to do that, which is absolutely revelatory. There's no other way of saying this. In this explosive clip right here that just surfaced, Lex Wexner is revealing that Jeffrey Epstein claimed he was the financial advisor to Elie de Rothschild and the Rothschild family in France. If you don't know who the Rothschild family is, basically that's the deep state, y'all. This is the global order. This is the guy behind the guy, behind the guy, behind the guy who's secretly running things. Not presidents, not kings, not governments. These are the people who are running things. Watch.
His experience at an industrial level, like working for a big company like Bear Stearns, and then he had done personal work for the Rothschild family in France.
Personal wealth management, essentially?
I don't know.
Okay. We've seen some reports that he would present himself as a bounty hunter, that he would find people's missing money. Do you recall him saying anything like that?
No. Well, specifically, I talked to Elie de Rothschild, and so I mentioned that earlier. So he represented their whole family, so there had been a whole bunch of people I mean, most of them I never would have met, but I knew Ellie. I never met people, but there were people that called me that either insinuated or said they knew Jeffrey through a financial relationship. And so, I mean, they could have been actors, but in the time, a guy calls me up. I'll give you an example.
It's just a
Because I want you to understand this, because it's so confusing to me. He would say, like, I'm providing financial advice to the founders of Google. I'm providing financial advice to Jeff Bezos. I'm providing financial advice for the chief technologist at Google. And wow, I'm in good company, because these are really smart guys with a lot of money. And you have to put yourself in the mindset of if my attorney said, he was qualified to argue in front of the Supreme Court, I'd believe him. I didn't say to call the Supreme Court and say, tell me, is he really an attorney or did he do this?
So you can see there, this is why his attorney got so mad at him. I mean, he's actually doing the exact opposite what he should be doing, especially if there are charges that are brought up. I mean, one representative said this about Lee Wexner, said that the House Oversight, one of the House Oversight Dems, Representative Stephen F. Lynch, said there is no question, quote, in my mind that Wexner knew about this and failed to stop it. He gave Epstein license and the ability to commit these crimes. I mean, now he's mentioned, so he's not just answering the question and then stopping. He's adding context, which is great for us. It's great for the truth. And maybe, I don't know, he's got a guilty conscience or whatever, or maybe he's aged. There could be a lot of variables, but that's probably why his attorney got so pissed off at him. But Jeff Bezos, the founders of Google, I mean, so first of all, this is the greatest conspiracy international. We've got princes, we got royalty, we got Hollywood, we got politicians, we got Obama, Clinton, former presidents. This is the greatest conspiracy on a global scale in the history of mankind. And 99.99% of the individuals involved are leftists. What does that tell you? Before you go, Nez, no, Trump is mentioned all these times. Yeah, he's mentioned. So is Elvis. So is Marilyn Monroe. So is all these people. And this clip right here, here's the biggie, y'all, where Jasmine Crockett completely exposes herself and the Democrats for their vile, unabashed attempt to get Trump. You got to listen to this. This absolutely backfired, and Crockett would not relent, and it exposes so much more. Let's watch this clip, and then I'm going to tell you what it exposes. But first, before I do, speaking of conspiracy, speaking of fraud, I can't tell you how many people have been completely bamboozled when it comes to Medicare, which is why I've partnered with Chapter. Check out some of these testimonials. One viewer said it was the most honest call I've ever been on. Thank you so much, Professor Nez. There was no BS, no broker fees, no anything, just pure, unadulterated, honest information. Another viewer said, thank you so much for the share, Professor Nez. I'm now saving $1,000 a year after calling Chapter. So these guys are not salesmen. They're unbiased. They're independent. You know me. I don't have a lot of sponsors on my show. This is why I partner with them, because they actually are real, authentic, and they help. So call this number right now, 656-218-0931, and get clarity. You can also go to askchapter.org/Nez. I'll leave that link to that in the comments, as well as in the show notes and description, and the number. Again, that number is 656-218-0931. Call Chapter right now, 656-218-0931, and tell them Professor Nez says hello. Okay, here's the clip with Crockett and Wexner that absolutely is a gigantic, abominable embarrassment. Watch.
That would put them together.
Okay, so just to clarify, because I want to make sure we're clear on the record, you're saying that you can recall instances potentially where Epstein and Trump were together and you were in their presence, or just a random scenario where Epstein may be there, Trump may be there separately, and then you would,
It would be at random. That would be accurate. If it happened, but I have no specific recollection.
okay. Did you ever see or become aware of President Trump having a sexual relationship with a person who was introduced to him by Epstein or Maxwell?
No.
Has Donald Trump ever discussed Jeffrey Epstein with you?
Nope.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever discuss Donald Trump with you?
I would describe it, he would name drop it. So he would say things like, I know President Clinton, or I know the Pope, or I know God, or, or I know you. There was that kind of name dropping, but never, I can't remember a specific place, but Jeffrey dropped a lot of names.
Okay. So to clarify, you believe he specifically dropped Donald Trump's name?
No, I'm saying it could have, and I don't remember.
Okay. Did Epstein ever share any information with you about Donald Trump's sexual activities?
No.
Do you have a relationship with Donald Trump?
No.
But you've met him before.
He introduced himself to me at the fashion show a couple of times, but I wouldn't say, hello, how are you? Like you say, met, like in, we knew each other. We don't know each other. He wouldn't. I'd be shocked if he remembered me.
Okay. And I know that you specifically mentioned the island, that you have been to Jeffrey's Island. Do you recall seeing any of those persons that Jeffrey Epstein would name drop while you were on his island?
No, nobody was there but Abigail, myself, Jeffrey, maybe somebody cutting grass or something. There was a maintenance person, I think, but I don't specifically recall. I know for sure I was there, Abigail was there, and Jeffrey was there.
And there wasn't anything abnormal about the appearance of the home on the island, and the reason that I asked, just to give you clarification on what I mean by abnormal, we've heard reports of people being thrown off when they walked into his home in New York because there was a massage table that was just sitting randomly in the middle of a room. Did you see anything like that when you visited any property that belonged to Jeffrey Epstein?
Well, first to clarify, when we visited the island, there was like a Pueblo building, like maybe a one room and a bathroom or something. It was pretty crummy. And the island was crummy. There were no trees, there was no sand, there was no beach. It was just, it's a kind of a peculiar thing. It was an island, but it was like a pile of rocks. It was just.
Did you hear how many times Wexner said no? Did you ever see, Crockett asked, did you ever see or become aware of Trump? No. Has Donald Trump ever discussed Epstein with you? No. Has Epstein ever discussed Donald Trump with you? No. Did Epstein ever share any specific information with you about Trump's activities? No. Do you have a good relationship with Donald Trump? No. He introduced me. Do you recall seeing Donald Trump on Jeffrey Epstein's island? He said nobody was there but Abigail and myself. Here's where the Democrats expose themselves. Like, I need to tell you that. We already know this. They've been crying Epstein for how long, y'all? Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. These victims deserve. It's all they were crying that you're protecting Trump. I'm sure, I'm almost positive. Let me know in the comments, by the way, because I know I have a million times, especially on X and other places, even in person. If you've ever gotten into any interaction where you've tried to defend what Trump is doing with whatever policy, whatever America First agenda, the number one most ubiquitous response is you're protecting that pedo. You're a pedo protector, right? Let me know if you've heard that a million times. Meaning that they are all concerned about the victims, right? How many times did you hear Jasmine Crockett ask Lee Wexner about victims? Goose egg. 0. How many times did you hear her ask about Trump? every single question. Why? Because it was never about the victims. The Hippocrats. Hypocrisy knows no bounds. When a tree breathes, oxygen is released. When a human being breathes, carbon dioxide is released. When a Democrat breathes, raw pollution, sewage, like in the Potomac, of lies, absolutely destroys the atmosphere. Every single time. But wait, there's more. The ladies on The View are absolutely losing their minds. Suddenly, they flip their stance on the Epstein files as soon as Whoopi Goldberg's name surfaced in the files. Check this out. So Whoopi Goldberg is in the Epstein files. And you know what? The media failed to tell us that she was in there. She requested one of his private planes to go to Monaco, and her request was denied. You know what else they failed to mention? That he was already a convicted you-know-what. I can't say it. At the time. And now they've completely flipped the narrative.
Bottom line is this: release the damn files and release them now. Release everything.
If this does not implicate Donald Trump, why wouldn't you say release everything? They absolutely have to show us what they're all hiding. If there's nothing to hide, release it all.
But all of that information is out there. Why not just put it to rest and say, release the list?
Because, they should just say, listen, this is what it is. Do you want to offer your G2? Okay.
And it looks like they said no thanks.
Yeah.
So in other words, anybody can be on this list.
Well, this is my point, because I'm telling you, when I tell you people are trying to turn me into, I wasn't his girlfriend. You used to have facts before you said stuff.
But Trump is on the list 38,000 times.
Well, I can't speak to him, but I'm speaking about me because I'm getting dragged. People actually believe that I was with him.
He drops like 300 names.
Yes.
And it's like flood the zone, because when you're looking, there are people like Marilyn Monroe, who is dead.
Elvis.
Yeah, a lot of people, because a lot of the reasons your name can be mentioned are news articles, third-party emails, contacts. Again, wealthy, famous people often cross in professional and social circles, so that's not the surprising part.
I don't know about you, but she sounds guilty as F, if you ask me. Why did you ask for a plane after it was all known? The island, everything, all the crimes. Why did you ask for it after that? You're going to tell me you had no idea? You're going to tell me now all of a sudden you don't care about Epstein files now that you're mentioned in it? Ladies and gentlemen, they think the American people are stupid. Well, guess what? Whoopi, View, and all you elitist corporate press, woke mob, fake news. We're not. We're on to you. And it is more than egregious that all of a sudden, you've been crying Epstein for years, and all of a sudden you're in it, and now you're like, well, let's move on. I don't think so. Okay. Here is the final clip I want to share with you, which is very interesting and powerful. Former mobster Michael Francesi, who was incarcerated with Epstein in the same prison, talking about the possibility of the narrative that he unalived himself. Listen to his take. This is going to blow your mind.
You were in the same prison as Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
What do you think happened?
Jeffrey Epstein would have to be a magician to try to himself in that cell. I was in that cell. There's no way there's nothing on the ceiling. Yeah. The bedpost is this high. I couldn't even go to a restroom without them walking back and forth and having me on camera. There's no way he committed.
So you reckon he was?
Yeah.
Why?
I believe that. I mean, look, there's no doubt there was powerful people involved with him, 100%. These people have a way of covering things up.
I found another thing that was really interesting is it looks like that Epstein's FedEx account was still active in 2024. There's an invoice there. You can see right here where my clicker is pointing on. June 18th for a May 22nd delivery to his NYC mansion years after he died. So who kept running it? This keeps getting weirder and weirder, y'all. I keep going back to the Dan Bongino and Kash Patel video, the interview with Maria Bartiromo, where they said there's nothing there. They were trying to sell it. You could feel the high, that feeling when you go into like a dealership or whatever, and you just want to browse, or a store, you can just feel the high pressure sales. They need that sell so bad. That's the same feeling I got. There is no doubt in my mind. And by the way, I have an entire playlist where I've covered this I'll leave it in the pinned comment and in the show notes down below. You got to go check it out. It's like bingeable, watchable, Netflix style, episode after episode. If you're just kind of like wondering and curious, I dissected the prison footage, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if we're ever going to get to the truth, but I think it's cool to expose Democrats because these are the people who are in charge of hardworking Americans like you and me, and they can never gain power again. So tap that thumbs up, share this with everybody. Here's the playlist right here. Go watch that next. Just click on that right there if you want to. And then you can tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. Please do so you never miss out. It's totally free. And as always, may God bless you and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.